I'm about to give you a step-by-step tutorial on this soft pink romantic look. I may not have a Valentine this year, or next, or ever, but this time of year is an excuse for me to wear pink eyeshadow. So I'm looking at the positives. For skin prep, I'm going in with the Haru Haru Wonder Barrier Essence. It's just a very milky toner. This just hydrates the skin very well. I've been using this for a couple months now, and it has helped so much with my skin texture. I don't think I'm leaving the house today, but I'm still gonna put on sunscreen. This is the Skin 10041. It's lightweight, it's hydrating, it doesn't leave a white cast on me. For foundation, I'm going to use one of my favorites. This one is from Nars. It's the Soft Matte. This one doesn't feel heavy on the skin, and I'd say the coverage is pretty full. For concealer, I'm using the one from Kosas. This one is super hydrating, and I love the coverage that it gives, and it is super lightweight, so it doesn't feel cakey underneath the eyes. To get the most amount of coverage, I recommend using a dry beauty sponge. Go ahead and stamp a little on your eyelids. For blush, I'm going to use a rosy shade. This one is from Colourpop. They recently sent this to one. Whoa, that's not English. For blush, I'm going to use this cream one from Colourpop. This is the shade called Adore You that they sent me. I'm going to actually apply this right underneath my dark circle. Now that you look crazy, you're going to tap it in and blend upwards, not downwards, because that's going to drag down your face. For setting powder, I'm first going to go in with the Kosas one, and I'm actually going to put this right below where we just put the blush. Essentially put this all over my face, except for my under eyes. This powder is just going to make your skin look super smooth without it looking cakey. Whenever I focus my blush here on my face, I do like going in with the pink One Size setting powder. I actually forgot to record this part, but I just put this underneath the eye just because I think it helps blend the blush better into the skin. I mentioned in my January favorites video that I absolutely love the Flower Nose Contour Palette, so I like to go in with this shade, start at the brow, and then I work my way down, and then I go here and beneath. Using my setting powder brush, I would just blend everything together, and using this brightening shade, I will tap on the button of my nose, down the middle, and a little bit on the sides as well. Brush away the excess. Before moving into the eyes, I am going to dip into one more shade of blush, and this is the shade called Pale Rose. I'm just going to focus this on the button of my nose. For the eyes, I'm going to use this palette that I bought from Romand. This is so stunning, guys. Like, look at these shades. It's so... I love shades like these. I'm going to start off with the shade called Milky Way, which is like this off-white almost. I'm going to brush this all over my lids just to brighten it up a bit. And I'm just going to use a big fluffy brush just because it's going to make life so much easier. For my Aegyo today, I'm going to dip into this pink shade called Real Orchid. For your Aegyo, all you want to do is like smile with your eyes, not your whole face, because then, I don't know, don't do that. So just smile with your eyes and outline. You should have a gap between your lashes and that line we just made. And then above that shadow we created, I'm going to dip into this light pink shade called Plum Violet. This one does have a little bit of sparkle in it, but it's not too much to the point where it's like full-on shimmer. This is very much giving matte with like a wash of sparkle in it. So I'm gonna just place this right above the shadow we created and below the lashes. I'm gonna take that big fluffy brush we used before and just brush away the excess shadow. And there we go. Going back into the white shade just to focus it on this part of my eye. I'm not going halfway. I'm actually stopping about like a third of the way just to brighten up that part a little bit more. I always like starting off lighter with eyeshadow only because I never want to start off too dark and then like it's hard to fix it. There's a little tip for you. Start light and then you can deepen it up. But I'm going back into the shade called Real Orchid, and I'm focusing that on the center of my lid like this, okay? And then I'm gonna flick into the white shade just to blend everything together, and then I'm also gonna flick out this way. Going back in with the fluffy brush just to blend a little bit more. I'm gonna add a little bit more of that pink on just to deepen up the color. And I am going to drag this all the way out to the outer corner, so I'm just gonna keep flicking out. Then I'm going into this maroon shade called Light Fuchsia. Wait, I actually don't know what shade is what. I'm now lost. Okay guys, I think I've been mixing up the shade names. I'm kind of confused. I think I have everything backwards. I'm showing you the colors to use, so there you go. I'm gonna go into this maroon-like shade on a small brush that we used for the outlining part. I think this is the shade called Plum Violet. That makes more sense. And this is what I'm gonna use for my wing today. And I'm just gonna flick out. Doing eyeliner with eyeshadow is definitely not the easiest thing in the world, but you just mark it out. It's okay if it's a little messy. Like, look at that, guys. That looks so bad. It's okay, because we can fix it together. Okay, I'm gonna dip back into this shade, and I'm gonna tap over the eyeliner. After you finish tapping, you're just gonna blend back and forth until it looks a little more diffused, I guess. For beneath the eye, I'm gonna start at the center and go back and forth. Okay, this is going to be right on top of your eyelashes. And then you're going to start making your way out, and you want this to be straight. You don't want it to curve upwards. You don't want to meet this wing. You want it to go straight. And it should be creating its own wing at the bottom. You should have something like this. Now, very important to be very light-handed with this. You don't want it to be too dark at first because you might mess up. It's happened to me before, and I just don't want it to happen to you. I'm warning you. Now, I'm gonna follow this curve of my eye. Okay, so the part that's gonna go down. So starting here, you're just going to connect to that straight line we just made. And then you just fill in that little triangle you just made. I almost feel like a little fairy with this eyeliner style. But yeah, once you get there, you could just fill in that triangle and you create a bottom wing. You should have something that looks like that. And to make my eyes look a little bit bigger and a little bit more on the brighter side, I'm using a cream colored gel liner, and I'm gliding this all across my waterline. And on the lower outer corner, I'm just going to thicken it up a little bit more. Sometimes your gel liner will mix in with the eyeshadow and it'll become more pink, and if you don't want that, which I don't think you do, scrape off the pink and then do another layer. I'm gonna go ahead and do my eyelashes before applying any glitter. I'm gonna use my favorite mascara from Romand. This one's waterproof, oil resistant, and very lengthening and volumizing at the same time. Look at the difference between both my eyes right now. It's good. Moving on to false eyelashes, I'm gonna use this lash book. I'm gonna use the ones that look like this. To apply false eyelashes, you just put them on. I always put the lash glue on the back of my hand just because it makes life so much easier. Right next to that lash, I will plop down the next one, pinch it together with my real lashes that are coated in a bunch of mascara. And then you do that all the way across. I'm gonna use this glitter right here on a small tiny packing brush. And I'm gonna focus this on my inner corner like this. And I'm making sure to keep a little gap right here. So we actually want the glitter to be on the outside of the actual inner corner, if that makes sense. I don't know how else to explain it, but do it like that. Why, you may ask? Because I said so. It looks better, trust me. And using our pinky, we're just going to kind of scatter that glitter, taking a little bit of that glitter on my pinky, and I'm going to tap it on the center of my lid. And we're not going all the way up to the brow, but we are going pretty close to it. And then I'm also going to tap a little bit right here, kind of connecting to this inner corner sparkle. You want the glitter to be heaviest on the middle and the inner corner. You don't want it to be so heavy right here just because it's going to add extra shadow that you don't want. Okay, I'm going in with the Fenty Beauty highlighter just to add a little bit more sparkliness to the inner corner, just tapping very lightly, and then taking a little bit of that glitter and brushing underneath the eye. You don't want to go to the outer edge. You actually want to stop about like right here. Moving on to highlighter, I am going to use my favorite Dior palette. I'm going to dip into this pink sparkly highlighter, and I'm just going to tap a little bit right here where the light is going to naturally hit. And then I'm also going to put a little bit on the button of the nose. Okay, you could actually see it a lot better on this side of my face. Sorry. Should look something like that. Going back in with that glittery shade from before, and I'm going to tap a little bit on my nose and a little bit on this part as well. For my lips today, I'm mixing together these two lip shades from Kaleidos. One is in the shade called Pink Himalayan and the other is Pink Moon. And I just mix them together on the back of my hand and apply with my finger. And then using a brush, I'm just gonna blur out the edges slightly to get more of that blurred, soft look. Anyway, that is pretty much it for this tutorial. Let me know what other tutorials or videos in general you'd like to see from me. I always like taking inspiration from your guys' ideas. But I hope this tutorial was helpful, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye now.